And welcome back to we're going to be talking to a man who was instrumental in helping to keep this country safe during the aftermath of 9/11. And to be perfectly honest, I would love to be sitting here with President George W. Bush, but in lieu of that, and maybe one day we will, we are joined by John Rizzo, 34 years as a lawyer at the CIA, culminating with 7 years at the helm, the agency's chief legal officer, and that was in the post-9/11 era. And, of course, all the evil, torture that the evil, out-of-control, rogue, cowboy Bush administration practiced on all these poor terrorists was approved by our guest, John Rizzo, who has now put it all in a book, Company Man, 30 Years of Controversy and Crisis in the CIA. I hold that book up for everybody watching at Newsmax TV to look at and take in. And we say hello to John Rizzo. John, thanks for joining us.
Well, thanks for inviting me, Steve.
Well, it's my pleasure, my honor, really. Obviously, let me ask you this. When President Obama took the helm in 2009 and did away with the CIA interrogation, called all the tactics basically that we had used in the aftermath of 9/11 that you had been so instrumental in, called them un-American, not what we're about, not who we are, and did away with them. What's going through your mind at that time, and how are you personally feeling, whether you're telling people about it or not?
Well, I mean, not just myself. I was the chief legal officer, Steve, but the thought that occurred to me was all of my hundreds of clients and colleagues in CIA, not a political. I mean, not someone like me. I'm a lawyer. I mean, I can take care of myself.
But these were you knew how valuable these were, and now you were seeing them done away with and called and referred to in horrific terms.
Yeah, and these were hundreds of people in the agency had worked selflessly and under very difficult conditions, both physical conditions in these prisons and also political conditions, doing what they thought was protecting the country, and to be written off as torturers and basically being told that what all these people were doing was contrary to American values was, I thought, a real slur on the men and women of CIA.
You know what I've always had trouble.
Oh, absolutely, Steve. And while we're on the subject of contradictions, the 9/11 policy seemed to be we don't want to capture terrorists and interrogate them, and after all, that's how you find out. And so this moral outrage, all those years over aggressive questioning, all the while, seemingly until recently, not a peep from the media.
Well, let me ask you, and we're talking to John Rizzo, former lawyer for the CIA and the author of Company Man. Let me ask you, what was it like making those decisions, waterboarding on all the various forms of interrogation? How did that happen, and at what point did you sit with President Bush, Donald Rumsfeld? Who were you with, and how did it unfold?
Well, I mean, what's critical here is the context of the times. This whole program, the idea of this whole program came into being under what we lawyers call extremely exigent circumstances. Just a few months after 9/11, we just was basically the traffic cop for Al-Qaeda. Now, he was the guy our experts were convinced was not, we're not wondering if there'd be another one, but when it would be. I mean, we'd had the anthrax letters, we had the shoe bomber, so the whole country was in the grip of fear and dread. And you also remember the hue and cry going out that CIA had been risk-averse in the years before 9/11,
right,
not being aggressive and tough. There was going to be another imminent attack. He was going to know about it, and he was basically telling our interrogators we couldn't make him talk under just question and answer. So what were we to do? We didn't have the luxury of time, so our experts came up with this list of proposed techniques that were not, they didn't dream up themselves, came out of the SEER training manual the DoD had been operating with for years and years, and they came to me with this proposal. So it was generated inside CIA. Honestly, it would have been, I could have stopped them right there. I could have said, this is going to get us into huge trouble down the road, but I just couldn't have lived with myself if we didn't at least explore, using these with the Bush administration senior leadership, and see if they were legal. I was a chief lawyer. My primary concern was, were these legal? And if they were legal, I was not prepared to have to live with myself if we drew back, if we were, quote, risk averse, and then there was another attack, and it turns out this guy Zubeda knew all about it, and we couldn't let him talk. So that was the whole context of the times. Sometimes 12 years later, everyone seems to forget about what the atmosphere in the country was.
Well, so John, I want to play for you. You were on MSNBC the other day, which was a huge mistake, but nonetheless, you were there with Andrea Mitchell, who, to be fair, she represents NBC News. She's one of the chief correspondents, whatever her title is, just like Chuck Todd is on that station, and he's the chief White House correspondent. So they blur the line, and but her true colors come out, as does Chuck's. And here's how she treated you on her show. Here's cut 32.
A lead CIA lawyer during decades occasionally marred by scandal, intelligence failures, and post-9/11 interrogation practices later outlawed.
Extraordinary measures had to be taken.
Extraordinary measures? You mean what was later decided to be torture?
No. If it had been torture, we wouldn't have done it. And what if there had been a second attack? Frankly, how could I live with myself if that were the case?
How can you live with yourself knowing people not only morally repugnant, but illegal?
Looking back on the times and what I had to do, my conscience is clear.
So she sits there and asks you, how can you live with yourself after what you did was morally repugnant, that's her opinion, and illegal. Wasn't illegal. You decided it wasn't illegal. So, I mean, did you expect that? And were you taken aback at all?
No. I wasn't surprised. As you say, Steve, it was the forum, and honestly, what Ms. Mitchell, was asking or was positing was nothing I haven't heard from. I didn't hear from Congress for years. I mean, all I could do then, and what I will continue to do, is state the case, and state the reality of what this country was going through at that time. And these are not easy decisions. These are not things the CIA eagerly jumped into, but our mission.
Don't apologize to me. Let me ask you, what kind of job is Barack Obama doing protecting the people, in your view?
Well, I think he's. I mean, to give the man his due, the operation against Bin Laden was. You have to give the man.
Well, but John, with all due respect, isn't that a no-brainer? He needed 2 nights to think about it. I mean, isn't that a no-brainer? Then after that, they sent our elite SEAL team on some cockamamie mission for nothing, and all those guys died in the plane in the middle of the night. I mean, how much of a brainer is it to say, he's there, go get him?
Yeah. No, I mean, I take your point. Overall, I think. I mean, the Obama administration has basically dispensed with what we as CIA always considered the key element in the post-9/11 counterterrorist era, which is to capture and interrogate terrorists.
Right.
They've taken that off the table, and as I said earlier, killing them is fine, but it's not. You won't learn about the next attack by simply wiping them out. You've got to capture them, and if it takes aggressive interrogation, then as a citizen, I would want my government, my country, to do that. And we don't have that anymore.
All right, we're talking to John Rizzo, 34-year veteran lawyer for the CIA. The book, Company Man, 30 Years of Controversy and Crisis in the CIA. Let me ask you about Bill Clinton. You're not a big fan of his. Talk about how you feel he disrespected the CIA. Well,
of all the presidents I served under, the most apathetic about intelligence, about the CIA. It wasn't hostility as such. Is he just CIA? I talk about in the book. Within a week of being inaugurated, we had an unprecedented tragedy at CIA headquarters, where a number of our employees were literally randomly murdered, gunned down, just waiting to enter the CIA one morning going to work.
Yeah.
And CIA headquarters are located at a 10-minute White House limousine ride from the White House, and it was a traumatic shock. It was like a mass murder in the family, the CIA family. And the fact that this man who can't just come off a campaign, is he couldn't bring himself to take that 10-minute drive to come out and pay his respects at the memorial ceremony. And you know, I and many people at CIA. I mean, this was his first gesture within a week of being president, and this is what he did. And I think that set the tone for his, really, you know, where I can describe for it is apathy and disinterest in CIA people and the intelligence community in general.
What's the relationship, you write about this in the book, between Hollywood and the CIA, and you talk about a Hollywood star who offered to work for the CIA if they got $50,000 worth of cocaine? Yeah. First of all, I know that the book, that little anecdote there is a teaser, and believe me, I wanted to put the star's name into the book, but... Well, you could tell me. Yeah. He promised not to tell anybody. Go ahead, I won't tell. So I'm sorry. You know, personally, I hate to read books where you get those little juicy things, but the author won't, doesn't go forward. So right. I just want to say I tried, but the CIA, they had to review the book in advance, wouldn't let me tell you the name. But, is it a male or a female? It's a male. Okay. It's an actor. And and how old a person is this person now? No, I mean, is this someone still active as a star or in the past? No, it was a long time ago. Okay. But I know the name. Even I would know the name, right? Oh yeah. He was big. Any event, please, you're gonna get me in trouble. No, go ahead. But I thought this was I thought this was something worth writing about, because I don't think it's ever been adequately spelled out, at all, really. Is that CIA and Hollywood have long had a special relationship. It was there when I joined, and it was there when I left 34 years ago, where Hollywood producers, studio executives, actors, they have, Hollywood's glamorous, and around the world, these people have kind of entree and access, can get to places, can get to people, foreign personalities, high-profile foreign personalities that CIA cannot get to. No, U.S. government official can get to. Do you believe that relationship is still ongoing? Not with that actor, but I mean in general with Hollywood? Oh yeah, no, it is gone. Even notwithstanding, John, the fact that Hollywood is so loony left, you still find people, you think, in the CIA. I mean, the CIA still finds these people to cooperate with the evil CIA. Yeah. Believe it or not, that was what was striking to me, Steve. Is that even when CIA was, every 4 or 5 years of my 34 years at least, we'd get ourselves in some huge, controversy and flap, but the Hollywood connection endured. And I will also say it was not just that small conservative, niche in Hollywood that did this. These were included people that you would, whose names you would normally think about as being on the liberal side of the spectrum. So I think it's honestly, it stems from two things. One, you have to give people credit. I think they want to help their country. But secondly, these guys actually being involved in real life. Well, if you ever told me Michael Moore, for instance, worked at the CIA, then I would pass out. Anyway, hey, listen, fascinating conversation, John. And folks, it's all in the book. You're out in the West Coast. Are you doing a signing today somewhere you want to plug? I am. I'm in San Francisco, and I will be appearing later on today at Kepler's Books in Menlo Park, California. There you go. And the book, Company Man, 30 Years of Controversy and Crisis at the CIA, John Rizzo. I hope you'll come back, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you, Steve. I enjoyed it. Take care. That's John Rizzo, ladies and gentlemen. Really fascinating book, and what a fascinating topic. And this is the man who decided, or in big part, signed off on that he was the president's decision, ultimately, that the interrogation techniques were legal and needed and necessary. Okay, we're coming back. Steve Malzberg Show, right here on Newsmax TV and radio.
The Steve